idea that this guy, especially in today's political climate, dealing with Me Too and the various scandals that have been going on, that this guy, if all that shit was going on today, would likely either be under indictment or at the very least under heavy investigation.
Yeah.
But because it's so long ago, it seems to be like this weird sort of gray area that he's saying, I don't owe her an apology. You know, if anybody thinks I wasn't punished, like, you weren't punished. Like, you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars now. How? How are you worth so much money?
There is a limit to charm before it is destroyed. And Joe Rogan achieved just that with a flamethrower and no filters. What happens when a smooth-talking former president is combined with decades of backroom deals, obscure headlines, and eye-opening experiences? You get a roast that is so tender that it melts completely away. Simply put, the spotlight has become cruel, and Rogan isn't holding back. It's not nostalgia, it's an autopsy, and the results are not promising.
When they asked him, there was an interview where they asked him about Monica Lewinsky, like, do you owe her an apology? He's like, well, anybody who thinks that I got out of that clean is crazy. That cost millions of dollars. I left the White House in debt and all this. That's not what anybody asked you, sociopath. They asked you if you think she deserves an apology because he never spoke to her.
And meanwhile, she was, one of the first people to be public shamed for something of this nature. This was a huge scandal. And this is back before the 24-hour news cycle, really, right?
Yeah, that stuck forever. It was in the news forever.
For this poor woman's life.
As this sad woman's life showed, power and attraction don't mix well when both are based just on appearances. For a long time, it was in the news. Bill Clinton didn't just walk into the White House. He almost walked in on 2 feet, holding a saxophone in one hand and a debate in the other. He was America's slick-talking political rock star. The only person who could go from economic policy to avoiding accusations with ease. He constantly bites his lip, like a villain in a soap opera who is eager to divulge the secrets of others.
About the Clinton Foundation, where Bill Clinton, he would make sure that he got speaking gig along with
the weapons deals that she was giving. Yes, this is correct. Again,
they're dirty.
We didn't get Trump because the Democratic Party was doing their job. The people got desperate and decided to take a chance on a political novice game who they knew was a bullshitter. Everybody knows Trump's a bullshitter. They were like,
Joe Rogan didn't have to clear his throat for this roast. Clinton's resume basically collapses during contact. This guy transformed charm into an Olympic sport and honesty into an optional accessory. Clinton's legacy is a complicated mixture of economic success, personal misery, and selective memory that would make an amnesiac blush.
Don't have to hold it back anymore. Look at it. Oh,
look at him.
Oh, good Lord. Oh. Yeah, he's shaking, he's licking his lip. I love when she turns around and looks at him. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, my goodness.
And then he gives her a quick...
Yeah.
What?
Look at her. And she turned. Oh, yeah. Once he looks at her, he's like, listen, you know who I am. You know you live with a wolf. You know you live...
Arkansas was governed by him as if it were a test run for corruption. The phrase credibility gap, even though he was a small-time governor with big-time aspirations, was worn out by him before the first national interview. His campaign promises became sour like milk in the sun, and his moral compass whirled faster than a UFC fighter stuck in a wind tunnel. Rogan hardly needed to dig. The man's problems are surrounded by a Vegas-style buffet of poor decisions and media manipulation.
Monica Lewinsky thing.
Yeah.
She said that Monica Lewinsky was a grown woman. It wasn't an abuse of power. Get the fuck out
How
of here.
old, Monica?
She was 20. He was the president.
Yeah, 20 is... You're a kid.
He was the president. There's no more powerful person on earth. If that's not an abuse of power, what is an abuse of power? You're hanging someone who works for you and you run the world? I know.
Monica is no longer even relevant. That's just the glitter on top of a mountain of mayhem. Clinton used the Oval Office as a backstage pass, mistaking presidential privilege for approval to behave like a hormonal college student. Every apology was an illustration of not apologizing. He was honest. He just did not provide the whole truth. His lawyers probably embroidered the wording into custom bathrobes. Rogan did not flinch at all. Clinton is a human news machine, capable of igniting controversy in 3 separate time zones with a single sneeze.
The thing.
so many other things that we know for a fact.
The Clinton Foundation, for instance.
So The Iraq War. I'm old enough, Joe, to remember when being for the Iraq War was a qualifier in the Democratic primary. That's why she lost to Barack Obama the first goddamn time she ran.
Right.
And all of a sudden, we're supposed to now people like Joy says that was a long time ago. Forget about it. Why don't you go tell that to a soldier's to a mother who's got a dead soldier? Why don't you go tell them that just done a legal war? Why don't you go tell that to a couple 100,000 Iraqis who are dead? Get over it. It was a long time.
He advertised himself as a man of the people, which was true if you were talking about anybody who wasn't immediately questioning him. He had fewer regrets than a guy who just gave up principles in a fit of rage, and he had more escapes than Houdini. Clinton's ability to make every disagreement seem like a little misunderstanding, as if the whole country tripped and ended up in the impeachment process, was highlighted by Rogan. Not to mention the rehearsed moments of yearning, the humanitarian platitudes, and the strategically placed, I feel your pain routine that could sell bottled water to a drowning man.
Bill Clinton got a blowjob while he was our president. While me and you are tax dollars, this guy's, and that's the one that he got caught. How much other shit do we not know about? Why isn't there no nothing on Bill Clinton, on him being on Jeffrey Epstein's fucking charter fucking plane?
26 times.
But on the dude, that's how you know that he's doing something right. The one dude that's for us, that's actually for the people. They want to crucify him.
But they just don't want him president again, and they know that if he runs against Biden is so old. You know, no matter what you thought his policies, you hear him talk. And
can't even make it down a flight of stairs, man.
This practicing magician took distractions out of his pocket as the public's trust vanished behind a curtain. Clinton did not build bridges. He burned them and then sold tickets to the fire at a charity function. The narrative of a slow-motion car crash was used by campaign strategists and spin doctors throughout his administration. Rogan doesn't need smoke or mirrors to roast Clinton. Clinton's fireworks were his own.
You got a good Clinton. It's not bad. I gotta listen to him. If I listen to him, I can get it pretty good.
What's he up to now?
Not much. Hiding.
Yeah.
The world's turned on him.
Yeah, but he's also...
he's
old, bro.
Hilldog
old
had
as
some rough
shit.
ones.
He's not just old. He had heart problems. Then he got on a vegan diet. And the vegan diet is like, you got to do that. You got to feel good with that. If you want to do that and be healthy, you have to really dot your I's and cross T's and make sure you get all your macronutrients and shit. You got to take supplements. He just looks like this.
You're in ketosis, man.
His international approach was to wait and see whether they would notice. He had a lot on his plate at home. One way to describe his approach to controversy management is deny, deflect, jam on the sacks. Long after the dust settled, Clinton lingered like a political ghost, haunting fundraisers, endorsement reels, and questionable charitable organizations. He treated embarrassment like any other political campaign. Foundations, gifts, speeches, and photo chances were all given with a wink and a smile that said, "Please forget everything." Rogan recalled, he put everything back on the table like a waiter, putting back the check that nobody wanted to share.
I mean that Hillary would have been a good choice
No.
either. She was a terrible choice. She's a corrupt politician, one of the most unlikable people that's ever run for office. They were trying to get people to be supporting her just because she's a woman. This is going to be her history. When ladies, I stand with her. So there's all these women that have signed allegiance towards this career politician, completely full of shit.
Clinton created a moral legacy in addition to economic wealth for the country. He was the prom king of plausible deniability and the homecoming champion of half-truths. And somehow, he always made it seem like your annoyance was the problem. Clinton did not answer questions. He carried them out. Rogan's actions went beyond just mocking Clinton. Rogan had called it that. Political karaoke relies on self-preservation. There is something especially absurd about a man who,
Clinton, when he was running for president the first time. Bro,
put on a
let me
clinic.
tell you something, dude. He's the fucking Michael Jordan of those the fuckers.
We've had 4 years where we produced no private sector jobs. Most people are working harder for less money than they were making years ago. It is because we are in the grip of a failed economic theory.
I can't argue with that.
Dude, old school titty grabber.
From the probably called tits bazoombas, you know.
Bro, he was an animal. And
Played the sax
and
on
this
Arsenio.
guy smooth talked better than any. He was like, that's the president.
But what are we going to do? I think we have to do is invest in American jobs, American education, control American healthcare costs, bring the American people together again.
You hear him talk?
while having broken a lot of bridges over his career, manages to clear the path for others. Clinton, who once represented a new era, is now a monument to political incoherence. This living statue illustrates what happens when charm wins and character takes a break. Clinton on his first run for the presidency. The roast did not stop with Clinton's presidency. On the other hand, comedy never goes away. It loops, jabs, and never forgets. This is especially true when the joke is still trying to sell books. More repetition than resurgence characterizes Clinton's second act. Rogan just pressed play, turned up the volume, and let the audience see the absurdity of what we once referred to as leadership.
Clinton speaking fee. Like, no one wants to hear Hillary Clinton speak. No ever has wanted to hear her speak. But if she's getting $400 grand from Goldman Sachs doesn't need to say, hey, by the way, you're going to speaking fees. Exactly. She knows it.
That was why during the debates with Clinton, he was like, release the transcripts of those speeches.
And what is the transcript? Hey, guys, do we really need to be here? Or can I go?
You know what I want. I want you guys to make money.
Will you agree to release these transcripts? They have become an issue.
If everybody does it, and that includes the Republicans, because we know have made a lot of speeches. But look, what is this about? This is about whether I have the best plan to go after Wall Street. I have a record that already demonstrates my willing to take on Wall Street and financial interests, and there's no question.
The roast is a constant. The damage was real. In addition, the saxophone continues to play badly. It's Clinton's speaking fee. For instance, hardly anyone enjoys hearing Hillary Clinton speak. Clinton's charisma could have worked in the 1990s. Rogan sharpened the blade just now. The slice will land anyway. It seems that his whole legacy was written on a napkin at happy hour at a place that no one likes to admit they still go to. Finding a way to keep the intern silent long enough to finish a press conference without perspiring through his tie was likely Clinton's idea of long-term planning.
I think Epstein had that giant painting of Bill Clinton in a dress in his foyer.
Dude.
Do you know that picture?
Yeah.
That painting?
Epstein's taste in art was not great. Like, if you look at the shit.
That was great. That painting is like, I got you, bitch. That's what that is.
Oh, right.
You got a president who was on the flogs 26 times with Epstein, and you got that guy in a fucking dress in your house.
Okay, I'm dumb. I'm sorry, dude.
By the time the clouds cleared, the man's charm was concealing one of the most chaotic, self-serving tours of the White House imaginable. For him, accountability was like a food allergy. A quick shrug, a media distraction, and a sax solo. He did more than just update the rules. He burned the playbook and then sold the ashes as a piece of charm. Clinton left no legacy behind. He left behind a tapestry of broken promises, cover-ups, and media manipulation.